Go live now. Let's do it.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
All right, y'all, we're here. Let's go, let's go. Good to see everybody here tonight. Shout out to those of you who made it. I want to tell you guys I do this for my father. I don't see him in my dreams.
Ready to take your business to the next level, scale it.
Pardon me, sorry about that. I don't see him in my dreams ever. But I just wanted to give him a shout out. Hey, you guys know the deal. This is episode 4, right? This is episode 4. One day we're going to have 400. We're a movement. I want to thank everybody for being here. If you're on YouTube right now, if you're on TikTok, you know what to do. Move over. If you're going to ask me any questions, just move over. That's all we ask. We're going to talk about everything trending today. And then I got a little treat for you guys. I'm going to do something kind of unique and different. I'm going to apply it to NFL guys. Obviously, I've been following any player that's in the NFL right now. I've probably followed him for at least 5 or 6 years, right? By the time you get to the NFL, I know your entire high school career. I know what you've been doing, who you've been doing it with. I know who you were committed to, changed your mind, did this, that, who you backed up, all that stuff. So it's really unique when I talk about an NFL player. I know him from a whole different perspective than the average fan. My mic says I'm really loud, and I don't know why. Give me a second. I think it's picking me up from my my webcam. Hey, how do I sound, guys? Can anybody tell me how I sound right now? Anybody talk to me? I'm going to have to reset some. I apologize to do this on the fly. I just need to know if I sound crazy right now. Because I'm pretty sure I sound good. All right, let me try this. How do I sound now? Do I sound the same? Good. Okay. So I'm not even using my microphone. I'm just talking to you guys now. It's picking up my audio. It's loud, sound like the plug. Word. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, so I'm actually using the audio from my webcam, which is something I've never done. But if it sounds good, it sounds good. I just can't control it. Maybe I can do that. There we go. A little better for me. I like that at that volume or right there. Sorry for the mic check in front of all of you guys. But here we go. So, if I lost my train of thought, what I was going to tell you guys is I intend to be here for the foreseeable future. And this show is going to be the same every single day. We're going to talk about what's trending, and then we're going to get into some type of theme for the night. So my theme tonight is that I'm going to apply all the knowledge I know about NFL players in a little snippet, right? So I'm going to talk about running backs in the NFL, and I'm going to tell you something about them that you might not know. How about that? How about I give you a fun fact about every running back in the NFL that you might not know? Now, I'm not going to do every running back. I found a story, I'm going to pull it up, where somebody ranked the running backs. I don't care about the rankings. I never do. I just use it as a list of players to talk about. I don't respect rankings. Rankings for me are never a source of information. It's just something some guy did. Somebody put them together, put them in an order, go read the byline, see who did it, and then ask yourself, does that individual know more about the game than you? Right? So if I make a ranking, then probably it's more credible. But if some Poindexter nerd who's been reading his journalism books all day and then goes, oh yeah, I'm going to give a ranking for that, I don't want to hear it. You don't know what you're talking about. And you'll know as soon as you start reading it. As soon as you start reading some of these rankings, you could look around and go, dude, this doesn't even look right. I look at transfer portal rankings and I just ask myself, how? How did we get there? Right? Happens all the time. Nonetheless, let's talk about what's trending, and we'll keep it moving. And then I'll get to the chat, and you guys drive the show. You ask me all your questions. It's Q&A all night. I'm going to try to cap every show at 3 hours max. I don't always want to go 3 hours. Some nights we do an hour and a half. Some nights we do an hour. If it's a slow day in sports, it's a slow day in sports. But I'm going to try to cap the show at 3 hours. So we're done every single night at 11 p.m. because I need time to myself. I need time to Ash, my puppy, and just relax. And it gets a little tiresome. But nonetheless, here we are. So let's get started. First thing I want to talk about that's trending. Last night, LSU won the national title. LSU won the national title in college baseball. And everybody wants to talk about it because LSU, they won women's basketball, right? What else did they win? They won something else. Women's basketball. They won baseball. Maybe they won gymnastics. I don't know. But check this out. If you go to ESPN and I just hit refresh and I go here, ESPN doesn't have it anywhere. The national championship was yesterday. It's nowhere on their page. This talks about mock baseball draft. ESPN does not care that a national championship was won yesterday. On their network, they televised the game. It's nowhere. Think about that. It's nowhere. We got to get all the way down here before they talk about this 18-4 blowout. Now, I think it's ridiculous because I saw Florida win the day before 24-4. I don't know how this works. It's best out of 3. It's best out. They might as well play rock, paper, scissors, bro. Nonetheless, the 5 seed beats the 2 seed. LSU wins the national title. I think 18-4 is the biggest blowout I've seen in a national championship. Why aren't they more competitive? What's this blowout stuff? It's garbage. But why is it way down here, man? Why is it not? I mean, what's more important? Some soccer shit? Like WNBA? Where every team stands right now? That's more important than the national championship? These scoreboards? WNBA, we can't move that thing up? I got to read about these scoreboards? Is it halftime? The score's 11-13. How many jump balls were in these WNBA games? How many jump balls? Look at this guy. Who's this swollen-faced behemoth right here? Who is this water buffalo that they give TV time to? Brian Windhorst? Oh, my goodness. I don't know why Roger Clemens is here. They're talking about the best draft class ever. What are they ignoring? The national championship. This would be like the national championship from football playing second fiddle to the NFL draft. It doesn't make sense. Terrible marketing deal. Terrible, website. Now, one of these links here, I won't even click on their links because I don't want to give them any credit. But one of the links is to Ryan Mallett. R.I.P. Ryan Mallett. If you don't know Ryan Mallett, this was a star high school quarterback coming out of the state of Texas. Went to Michigan initially, and he was trying to compete for the starting job, him and Chad Henne. And unfortunately, if I remember correctly, I think his year, Chad Henne was starting, and that's the year they lost to Appalachian State. And you want to talk about nobody watching that game. That's the last game that I remember. More people were listening on the radio than watching on TV. The Appalachian State upset when they beat Michigan in the Big House. It was the first game of the season. But more importantly, it was the first game on the Big Ten Network. And so many people didn't give the Big Ten Network that they didn't get to watch the game because you needed to have premium cable. I had it. I watched the game. I watched it live. I thought it was amazing. And I can remember as I'm watching the game, I'm watching history, there were so many fans who listened to it on the radio, which is kind of absurd given the time frame. But Ryan Mallett was on the bench for that game. At the end of that season, Michigan lost so bad, right? Michigan lost to Appalachian State. They get so confused, they want to hire somebody from the Appalachian Mountains. That's how bad that loss was to them. They couldn't handle it anymore. So their next head coach they hire a head coach at the end of the season. They go and hire Rich Rodriguez. And Rich Rodriguez just had Pat White. And Rich Rodriguez shows up to Michigan, and what happens? Ryan Mallett says, I can't play for this. Ryan Mallett is a statue, or at least he was. Ryan Mallett was a statue. This man stood 6'7". 6'7". If you don't want to drown, go swimming in 6-foot deep pools, bro. All you gotta do is stand up. He's 6'7", 250, at least in his prime. But he couldn't move. If you guys don't know, this is not an athlete of a man. This is not an athlete. Not a naturally gifted athlete, nothing of the sort. I remember his combine, and his 40 time was like a 5'3". I kid you not, maybe even 5'4". It was like a 5'3'7". Somebody fact check me. I'm letting you know now. Ryan Mallett ran a 5'3'7". He's a statue. So he leaves Michigan, transfers to Arkansas. Plays all right. Second team All-SEC 2 years in a row. Hey, quarterbacks transfer to the SEC to become starters. I tell you this all the time. Backup quarterbacks transfer to the SEC to become starters. Everybody. Every team. All the time. Ryan Mallett did it, and he was willing to sit out a year to do it. Third round pick still. NFL career, hey, he drank a lot, guys. He drank a lot. He was a flawed man. But he's not here anymore. And 35 years old, to die of drowning at 35, I just want to tell you guys, stay away from water you can't stand in. Serious. You want to swim in a controlled environment like a pool? Don't mess with the ocean. Don't mess with lakes. I took Kim Jones to the ocean. Guess what we did? We didn't touch it. So I just saw chat. Somebody said, yeah, 5'3" it is. Dude, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. 5'3", 40. The slowest damn 40 I've ever seen. That's slower than lineman, man. That dude is a statue and a half. Just letting you know. I think he ended his career with more interceptions than touchdowns. This was not a remarkable quarterback. But he's a name we all remember because he was at some big teams. But I'm pretty sure he threw more interceptions than touchdowns in the NFL. 9 or 10, something like that. But shout out to Ryan Mallett for being deceased. He drowned in the pool. Or he drowned. It doesn't say the pool. He just drowned in Destin, Florida. Yeah, I think he had an alcohol problem. He didn't wake up on time. Was he on Hard Knocks? And he didn't wake up on time? I think that was him, if I can remember correctly. J.J. Watt, send him a shout out. R.I.P., bud. People die. I handle death differently from everybody else. Just an update, if we were watching the live stream this weekend, we saw Tafa here, heavyweight. If you guys don't remember this, he got a brutal eye poke. He got poked in the eye in the first round, 30 seconds in. It was a serious poke. He couldn't keep his eye open. He wasn't faking it. He was sitting there. They gave him 5 minutes. It just started swelling. It got crazy. Well, it turns out he had eye damage. He had damage to both eyes, but he's going to recover. He's going to be okay. He's grateful he didn't lose his vision. I didn't think it was that serious. Yeah, 9 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Prince, let me know, Prince. Let me know if I ain't the one, bruh. Let me know. I know it's 40, and I remember his computer, bruh. Yeah, so he couldn't keep fighting, but he's going to recover. Hey, the other day, well, there's a guy here. This 2-year ban on Braxton Smith. This is a UFC heavyweight, 2-year ban. He popped for the 3rd time. Testosterone. What is he taking, bro? He looks yoked. He's popping something, but he ain't natural. I don't know what's on his chest here, if that's confetti or he's growing metallic something. He's 0-1 in the UFC, by the way. He's 5'11", 242. Needs to calm down. Bro, I'm 6 foot, 235. This man's got 7 pounds on me. And it looks like it's all in his, I don't even know. This looks ridiculous. Well, he's banned. Let's get rid of him. Jake Paul finally came out and said it. It's something I told you guys. I'm right, okay? Jake Paul said it. Damn near impossible to get a union in the UFC. I told you guys this. The fighters are not all together. You know, like in the NFL, they have meetings. All the players go to the meetings. They send a rep from every team. Every team has 4 reps in the NFL. In the NBA, there's 2 reps. There's the primary and the alternate. Every single team. In the NFL, there's 4 reps. The primary and then 3 alternates. Whoever can make it to the meeting. They usually just give it to some guy who went to an Ivy League school and say, hey, you do it. Then they come back to the team and tell everybody what happened at the meeting. There's like 10 vice presidents in the NFL Players Association in their union. Same thing with the NBA. It's a who's who. It's famous guys. But these guys want to do a union for the UFC fighters, and they came to find out real quick. The fighters don't care about each other. They're not banding together to do anything. They're not fighting for minimum wage. They're not fighting for contract minimums or how much you're going to get paid or what percentage of the purse. These fighters will not do it. They don't care. They get in the ring, they knock somebody out, and then they get on the mic and say, yo, Dana, give me my 50 grand. If you're asking for your 50 grand bonus, that's taking money from somebody else on the card that night. Somebody else who needs the money. Somebody else who's underpaid. You don't care. There's dudes getting $200,000 for their fight and go, Dana, I need the 50 grand. And then there's somebody getting $20,000 and they don't get the 50 grand. We saw some incredible knockouts in the prelims, but when you see who they gave the 50 grand to, Dana just keeps giving it to everybody on the main card. Just trying to keep the highest paid fighters happy. And the lowest paid guys, they get crumbs and no one's fighting for them. No one's advocating for them. No one's doing anything on their behalf. It's crazy, man. So, yep, Jake Paul just found out the hard way. It's damn near impossible. We can't do this. I told you guys that. They've been working nonstop. It's just damn near impossible to figure this one out. It's very, very difficult. Very difficult. Yep, they don't want to hear it. Nobody cares. Dana White's not having it. And in the world of we missed in the draft, we got another ex-first rounder. They just put out an arrest warrant. This one's a little crazy for me. Okay? So Darren Lee, first rounder, I think he was out of Ohio State. Darren Lee was punching his mother. You heard me. His mother with a closed fist. Punching his mother with a closed fist. This is nuts to me, bro. He's already out of the NFL. This is a 28-year-old player. This is 28, bro. First round draft pick. Hasn't been in the league since 2020. But punching your mom in the face? How we get down like that? Most NFL players want to buy their moms a home. This guy wants to knock her out. Problems. And before I get into the theme of the show up here, this is the story. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through it line by line. But they have all 32 starting running backs in the NFL, and they have them in a power ranking order. I don't agree with the order at all. We'll get to it. I think I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. Let me do that. That's why I was all the way at the bottom. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. But my goodness. Before I get to that, though, Ash is playing with her toys outside. I want to talk to you guys about something. You see it in the ticker down there. It says Milli Vanilli content creators exposed. All right, so if you don't know who Milli Vanilli is, I'm going to tell you who they are. They won a bunch of Grammys. They won a bunch of awards in the late 80s, early 90s. And Milli Vanilli was a pop group, a pop duo, a hip-hop duo, or whatever. Yeah, they were pop. They were popular music. They weren't really hip-hop. And I'm telling you right now, Blame It on the Rain, Girl, You Know It's True, they had some amazing songs. Turns out, they weren't singing any of them. They were lip-singing everything. They didn't even perform the songs in the studio. It was two dudes with long hair who couldn't sing. They couldn't sing at all. I remember there was this classic video, I'm sure it's on YouTube, where they attempted to show that they had singing voices. It was gross. They did not have singing voices. Now, I think one of them's dead. I think one of them passed away. He unalived himself. But they're infamous for singing other people's songs, but they never sang. Somebody else was singing in the studio. They were just actors on the screen. They weren't even doing the lyrics. They were just lip singing. So I woke up this morning, and guys, I get 100 messages a night when I go to bed at night. When I wake up in the morning, my inbox on my TikTok, it says 99 plus. It says that every hour. Every hour, 99 plus, 99 plus. And that's going to be messages, that's going to be comments, that's going to be likes. Every one of those says 99 plus, 99 plus. And I have the discipline and the dedication to my followers to go through them. I reply as much as I can. Now, I'm one person. I got a life to live. There's 10,000 comments a week. I can't reply to them all. But one thing that doesn't show up all that often is when you tag me in a video. That's probably about 10 times a day. It's a different list. Okay, on my activities list, it's a different one. So whenever I have someone tag me on a video, that means they put the @ sign, they write out Rico Knows. When they do that, it's a little different. Those stick out to me. Those stick out much more than any comment or anything else. So I go and check the tags. Well, I woke up this morning to 50 tags. And I tell you, I get about 10 a day. 50 tags, a week's worth of tags. I'm like, yo, what is this? So I click on it. And there's some bum doing a fancy video with my entire take. Now, we ran into this issue with Theo Ash. We ran into this issue with some other guy stealing takes from the internet and claiming them for his. I tell you guys, a lot of these content creators just go on Twitter and just start talking, regurgitating what they see on Twitter. Nothing they do is original, because being a content creator is hard. Sitting down every day and having the creativity to do something that's intriguing to others is difficult. And I miss all the time. I will come up with a theme or an idea, and I will make the video, and I'll think it's going to hit. I'd say this is the one, and it doesn't. The people will dictate what's a hit and what's not. The people will tell you what's a hit. I learned this from Russ. You know, Russell Vitale, my favorite music artist, Russ released a new song every single week. And for 2 years, Russ released a new song every single week for 2 years. 104 songs in 2 years. And Russ said, man, I was just saying to myself, I'm making a new song every week, and I think it's got a good hook. I think it's got a good verse. I think I'm singing the hook. I'm doing all this. He goes, and then I put it out, and I think this one's going to blow. And then it doesn't. But I felt that way about every single one of them, he says. And then the ones that do blow, sometimes it's the ones you don't even think are a big deal. Sometimes I'll make a video in 3 minutes, think nothing of it, go to bed, wake up, it's got 300,000 views. Happens all the time. The video I don't think is going to pop, pops. And then the one I want to really go, doesn't go. It's the life of a content creator. So what you can do is go to other pages and find their most popular videos and emulate them. And you'll get a lot of views. You emulate them, you reduplicate them, you rip them off, you do this Milli Vanilli stuff. You just regurgitate what you heard. The difference is, if I was your ghostwriter, we're straight. If you want me to be a content creator for you and create on your behalf, come up with ideas that you can do real fancy, let me know. I'm for hire. You want to pay me? Let's talk. I could be the greatest content creator in the world if you want to be the speaking voice for it. But here's the reality. I really like my delivery, my tone, my voice. It's my spirit. It's my words, my actions. Shout out to Jay-Z and Drake for saying the same thing. Somebody else ghostwrites for them. Hey, but my spirit did it. My lyrics did it. My image did it. This is me. So I take it very seriously when somebody takes something from me that I created from its origin. Meaning I didn't read it anywhere. This was my idea. I do this all the time. I really genuinely create my content. So if you want to steal it from me, it's not like it's an accident. You didn't accidentally steal my take. You did it on purpose. And I can't get down with you. You're the fakest dude I ever seen. And these guys, 1.7 million followers? Nah, you ain't real. I don't even care. Like, there's nothing you can do at this point. I remember being a kid. And one day somebody stole our car out of our neighborhood, right in front of our house. We went outside one day, and our 4Runner, we had an old 4Runner, 1985 beige 4Runner. It was my older brother's truck. My dad was letting him drive it. This is in the 90s. So this truck's pretty old. And it gets stolen out of the front yard. That's what happens when you live where we live. Somebody's going to steal your car. So they steal the 4Runner. And it's gone, and it's missing, and we don't see it anymore. It's gone. Dad puts in a police report, but we're out of a vehicle. And one day we're driving down the road to my grandmother's house in the next city over. We're driving to my grandmother's house, and my twin brother looks out the window and he says, Dad, I see the truck. And we all kind of look at him, we're laughing, we're like, dude, stop it. Because we've been looking for our truck on the street while we're driving, we're looking for it. But my brother saw it. My dad's like, man, stop playing. We got to get to grandma's. Morant says, no, turn around. I saw it. So Pops busts a U-turn. And we go over there to this car dealership where they're selling used cars. We go over there to the car dealership where they're selling used cars. And when we walk in, there's our 4Runner. And there's no denying it. There's the truck. Because it had a Papas and Beer bumper sticker. It had a bumper sticker from Rosarito, Mexico. From Baja California. We knew that was our truck. So my dad calls the police right away. And they show up. Police get there. They tell us, describe the truck from the inside. Describe the truck from the inside. This is a used car dealership. We haven't even gone towards the truck. We're out of sight. We're off the lot. And we tell the police officer, oh, when you go inside, There's going to be some writing up here because we once wrote up here. There's going to be a little crack over here. We start describing the interior of the 4Runner. There's another bumper sticker over here. There's a KESQ sticker here. There's a radio station thing here. Oh, I put this back here. There's a piece of gum under the seat. We're doing all this. The cops go check out the truck. They go, hey, these kids know this vehicle. This is their vehicle. This is a stolen car. This is a stolen truck. And I'll never forget what happened next. My father looked at the police officer, looked at the car dealership owner, and said, all these cars are stolen. I bet they're running a ring around here. Somebody's stealing cars, and they can fence them through here. And they're selling them to you. And the dude at the dealership was like, oh, I don't know about all that. I bought this. And he couldn't remember who he bought it from. He couldn't describe where he got it from. All this stuff. But what really happened? At that point, did they want to do an investigation? Did they want to try to crack it down further? Did they want to try and find out how many of the cars on the lot were stolen? Or do you just say to yourself, this is a shady-ass place. They sell stolen cars here. I can't trust any of these cars. That's how I feel about this content creator. I don't know if all his videos are stolen. I don't know. But I can't trust any of them. I don't know if any of these are his original take. That's my take. My name is so-and-so. That's my take. No, I look at you and I look at all your videos and go, all these are stolen. We don't, this is a ring right here. You got people working for you out looking for good content, stealing it. You remind me of Carlos Mencia stealing jokes. You remind me of Kevin Hart sending his writers out to steal jokes from smaller comedians, and then he can just say them and no one cares because they don't have the following he has. But you stepped to the wrong one, man, because I'm passionate about this. And if I see somebody steal my take, I'm not going to just go, damn, they got me. I'm going to put it on blast. And maybe I don't have 1.7 million followers. But I do get 2 million views a week. Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. So, shout out to Milli Vanilli, but you're not getting any more awards from me, bro. You don't get any more music from me. You don't get any more takes from me. I will report copyright infringement. I'm not playing. Ask Joe Budden's podcast. I almost did it there. I asked them to put my link in their details, and they did. And then they took it out. We're going to have a problem. Anyways, I'm off that tangent. Sorry for being so passionate about what the hell I do. But hey, that's how we got here. That's why we're so great. I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching right now. If you're watching on TikTok, you know the deal. I don't talk or take questions on TikTok. You got to move over to YouTube. I'm going to get it after the chat now, and then we'll go from there. So let's go. Going to start the chat. If you got a question, drop it in the chat. Once we catch up, I will go over what I wanted to go over, and we'll do that. You know what? Let me go over the Five Guys, and then we'll go over here. We'll go back. Five Guys Burgers. Let's do that. So let's go over these guys first. So Brian Robinson, they're saying he's the worst starting running back in the NFL. Brian Robinson for the Commanders. This is a guy who played at Alabama. I'm going to tell you guys, when I think of Brian Robinson, I think of a guy who earned his dues. He was at Alabama for 5 years, never starting. He was always splitting time with all these other guys, right? There's a ton of NFL running backs at Bama. And then his senior year, he finally got his big break and got to actually play. But the thing that you guys might want to know about him, and not every casual fan might know, is he got shot twice. He was shot twice last year before the season. Having to recover from some gunshot wounds, 2 of them to be exact. Pretty big deal from an armed robbery. So shout out to Brian Robinson. I don't agree with him being dead last in the rankings here. Raheem Mostert. I want you to think of Raheem Mostert, if you don't know who he is. Excuse me. I want you to think of him as Devin Achane. You see Devin Achane out down here being drafted by the Dolphins? Raheem Mostert was a speed demon in college. This was a kickoff returner, a wide receiver. He wasn't even a running back. But he's over 30 years old, and you guys know what they say about running backs over 30 years old. He's 31 years old. He's a Florida guy. So he's from Florida in high school, and he runs a 37, by the way, 37.9 in the 300 hurdles. I got a lot of respect for that. But he goes to Purdue. At one point in his career, he was considered one of the fastest football players in the country. Him and Tyreek Hill were the two fastest in college. I promise you. This is a Big Ten champion in I think the 100, the 60. He's a complete stud. This is indoor track. The 60, 6.63. Blazing fast, y'all. 6.63? That's fast. Ran a 20.73 in the 200. Anything under 21, I respect. Kickoff returner. So this is a one-dimensional guy. They say one-dimensional here. But if he loses a step, that's where these other guys come in. And I think Mostert being 31, he's lost a step, and that's why he's down here. He's a one-trick pony. Welcome to it. Here we go. Khalil Herbert. What do they say? I don't even know what they're talking about Khalil Herbert for. Khalil Herbert, when he started his college career, he was at Kansas. And what's unique about this is Kansas hasn't had a running back drafted in the last 20 years. In the last 20. Now, he's a sixth-round draft pick. But his final year of college, he transferred to Virginia Tech. He used the transfer portal. He's one of the first transfer portal guys. He was at Kansas playing running back, and then his final year, I'm going to go to Virginia Tech. And for me, when I see a guy going to Virginia Tech to get drafted, I think it sucks. But when he got to Virginia Tech, he played a game where he had like 350-something yards, all-purpose yards. It was insane. It was against Duke. I remember it vividly. I was like, who is this guy? He's never fumbled in his NFL career so far. He's playing for 2 years. But not having a fumble as a running back is a really big deal. Most of these guys fumble at least 3 times a year. Most running backs fumble 3 times a year. If you do more than 3, you're out. Now, I should say, let me rephrase that. If you lose more than 3 fumbles, some guys fumble 6 times, but they only lose 3. Khalil Herbert has not lost any fumbles. I like the kid a lot. So, there you go. James Conner. If you don't know James Conner, am I at 5 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if you don't know James Conner, Pittsburgh kid, right? He's a Pittsburgh kid. He goes to Pitt, and he's playing running back there, and he played out of his mind. And his sophomore year, he rushes for like 1,700 yards, and then he tears his MCL, and he gets cancer. And he has to overcome cancer. And he does. Rushes for 1,000 yards his last year, but by that point, his draft stock had dropped. This was a guy who was one of the top running backs, the ACC Player of the Year, his 1,700-yard season. And then that year he sat out, and now he's just a shell of himself. He's carved out a career. He's, as they say, he's a serviceable do-it-all back. But this guy used to be elite before he got cancer. But shout out to James Conner. He holds the Pitt rushing record for rushing yards in a game. He broke Tony Dorsett's record. Tony Dorsett used to be the all-time leading rusher in NCAA history before Ricky Williams broke his record. And Tony Dorsett's single-game yardage rushing, whatever, his rushing yards per game, the single total was, I don't remember, but I know Connor's is 229, so he has the record now. I think the former record was 225. I don't remember, though. I don't like not knowing, so that bugs me. So what is that? That's 4, 5, 4. Let's go to Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco. If you guys don't know, Isaiah Pacheco, just like you guys can see the guy on ahead of him, Cam Akers and Isaiah Pacheco were both high school quarterbacks. That's what they do. Everybody talks about Pacheco's a 7th-round pick, this, that, and the other. Pacheco was a high school quarterback. He really was. Excuse me. But he had no major offers coming out. No big ones. So he goes and he does the best he can. But when he gets to the combine or when he gets to his pro day, 4.37 40, 30 reps, 27 reps on the bench press. 4.37 40, 27 reps. It's a beast of a man. But his 830 yards last year in the NFL, 830 yards rushing, were the most he's ever rushed for since high school. He didn't do 830 yards at Rutgers, and that's why nobody saw this coming. He's a decent running back. He's still not the guy. He's decent. But 830 yards was the most he's ever rushed for. So maybe it's the system. Hey, shout out to him. His brother and sister were both murdered, and he's overcome it. And since I already talked about Cam Akers, I'll go one with Cam, and then I'll go to the chat. Cam Akers played in Mississippi, the highest-rated player to go to Florida State in the last 7 or 8 years. He's a superstar. In high school, his senior year, 3,000 yards passing, 2,000 yards rushing, over 5,000 total yards. It's not a game with Cam Akers. 65 total touchdowns his senior year. Cam Akers is real. It was impressive. Go watch the tape. I could only imagine what people felt like going to a football game in Mississippi when Cam Akers was playing. 5,000 yards? Nah, that's just nuts. At the same time, there's some guys like Ty Keys who just dominated Mississippi football for the last 3 years. Can't even see the field at Southern Miss. It just happens. It's really, I think it's bad football. I think there's good players in Mississippi, but I think it's bad competitive football. I really do. I think there's just a ton of stats in Mississippi that don't translate to the next level. So I'll stop there, and then we'll pick up after I get to the chat. I'm scrolling up real quick to see who's next. And I'm just going to give you guys fun facts about every single guy on the list. That's what I'll do. Because I'm that guy. Because I know these guys. I've been knowing them for years. But let's go to the chat and see what's up. So, chat starts. Willie Bobo says, what's up, y'all? Hey, Willie Bobo beat everybody. I see Connor comes in here and he says, damn, Willie beat me to it. There's a game every single day. You guys try to see who can get in here first. And Willie Bobo is not getting beat most of the time. It's true. Damn, Willie Bobo beat me to it. About time Willie Bobo showed up early, I was getting lonely. Shout out to Seth. Seth, you've done it once. Calm down. Y'all see the story about Florida's baseball coach? That's wild. So, if you don't know, Florida baseball coach, I don't want to say his name because this is about to get scandalous. He was having an affair. He was sleeping with one of his bat boy's mothers. So he's got a bat boy on the team. The bat boy's got a mom. Baseball coach is banging her. Having an affair. That's juicy enough. Let's leave it at that, right? No. Because she was married. She was married. And dad decides, husband decides to burn down the house, kill the kids, and kill himself. Because she was having an affair. If I got that right. I'm pretty sure I got that right. The craziest part is the mother, now that she's single, goes and marries the baseball coach, Florida baseball coach. So his wife, whom he loves, yeah. Wow. I didn't want to make a video on it. I'm not going there. Willie Bobo, I'm swimming for a bit before the show. Get at me. I don't know if he was making a joke about Ryan Mallett, but I don't think he was. I think it's just coincidence. I think that man just went for a swim. That's what I think. I don't think that was intentional, but that's a cold move if it was. Get at me. AJ interviews. Who is your favorite player of all time? My gut, my knee-jerk reaction when you ask me that question is Emmitt Smith. Mr. Durable. I was a kid in the early 90s. I mean, I was impressionable then. I was saying I was 8 to 13 years old. And Cowboys were winning Super Bowls. And Emmitt Smith was the league's leading rusher back to back to back. And it was just good versus evil, right? Barry Sanders was evil. Barry Sanders was a guy who quit on his team, didn't take his team to the playoffs, didn't make anybody around him better or Hall of Famers. And then Emmitt was like dragging Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman to the Hall of Fame when these guys had terrible numbers. Go look at Troy Aikman's stats. They're atrocious. But he's in the Hall of Fame because Emmitt Smith went out in the second half against the Bills and ran the ball 13 straight times. Like, I don't know how to explain how great Emmitt Smith is to me, but there's a reason, like, he'll never have it. His records will never be broken. And you can say what you want to say. I think Emmitt Smith is amazing. That's probably my favorite player of all time. Most underrated transfer class and most overrated transfer class. AJ interviews. So here's the deal. When you say underrated or overrated, who are you referring to doing the ratings? Because I don't overrate anyone and I don't underrate anyone. Everybody is exactly where they should be. Fair? You get what I'm saying? So if we're doing this, I'm going to have to pull up somebody's rankings. So if I go to, let's go to 24/7. I don't believe in anything they're saying, but let's go to 24/7 and let's look at their transfer portal rankings. And I'll tell you who's overrated. So top, oh, they got the rankings over here on the far left. Overrated transfer portal rankings. Miami's definitely overrated if they're on this list. Yeah, give me Miami overrated on the transfer portal list for sure. Miami's overrated. Let me do this. Let me go to On3 transfer portal. It's important you guys understand this. When you go to On3, you're going to get a bunch of views that aren't good. You have to do this process that I'm showing you now. If you don't do this process, it won't look right. You got to go to transfer portal team rankings. Click on it. Then once you're here, you got to click on a team. You click on the team. Then after you click on the team, you can pull up any team you want, and then you'll be able to see what they have. If you don't do that, you won't be able to see what they have. Now, their rankings are way wrong and crazy, but what's really important is if I go in here, and I told you it was Miami, ACC, I think I just clicked on Louisville by accident. I did. Here's Miami. Transfers coming in. So, I'll give you an example. CJ Cloyd should never see the field. He was a role player at Louisville, and I don't see him contributing at all. I thought it was a late signing, and he's making a poor decision, especially being a 2019 kid. I don't see it. Anthony Campbell is actually from Jamaica. He's 6'7", and I didn't think he was any good. I watched him on tape at ULM. I don't think he's worth Miami at all. But he's from Florida, so maybe he wanted to come home. Tyler Harrow's fast as hell and great. I like him, explosive. He couldn't play at Bama, but the year before he had 29 yards a catch at Louisville. I really like Tyler Harrow if they can get him the ball. Very fast. AJ Allen, I was so surprised he came all the way to Miami. This has got to be money. He's a very good running back. I thought he was going to go to Colorado. I thought he was going to end up somewhere in Louisiana or Texas. Thought he was going to go to Troy, something. Anywhere in the Sun Belt, but he went to Miami, so shout out to him. Jadis Richard, not too excited about it. I thought it was a bad pick. Jaden Davis is a starter, stud, coming over from Oklahoma. This is a stud. Rocky Shelton, graduate transfer. It's his last chance. I think he's just coming home. He's from St. Thomas Aquinas, just coming home to play. Cam McCormick has been playing in college for 7 years. This is his 7 or 8th season. Look, he's from 2016. It's 2023. He's from 2016. It's crazy. Branson Dean, nothing too incredible. Just a rotational guy. Matt Lee will be the starting center for Miami. Very good player. Surprised he transferred. Michael Donovan, he's a long snapper, bro. Now we're talking about it. Francisco Mauigoa, I think he's a good player, but there's a starter in front of him. I still think he's a good player. I definitely see him seeing the field and rotating in. Thomas Gore, just a plug, just a chunk in the middle. And Devontae Brown, starting corner. His younger brother signed in the recruiting class, so he's not bad. Javier Cohen's going to start, coming over from Alabama. So, for me, though, when I look at this, this is not top 10. This is not top 10. This doesn't impact your team as much as some of these other recruiting classes. Not even close. So, that's overrated for me because I saw the rankings. Most underrated transfer portal class is probably Charlotte. Or, let me see. Oh, well, Wisconsin's ranked really high, so no, that's not underrated. Baylor's is good. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Georgia Tech. Because nobody's talking about it, and Georgia Tech's actually got a pretty good transfer portal class. Give me Georgia Tech. Underrated as hell. Yep. For sure. They know what they're doing. 3 Texas A&M kids. Christian Leary coming over from Bama. He's a good wide receiver. Blaylock coming over. They got players. Give me Georgia Tech for the most underrated. There you go. Sorry for that long pause and having to think about it. Great question, though. Welcome in. Please hit it. What up to Kim Jones? The finest The finest. What up, Lawrence? Hey, Lawrence Collins says, plug. Have you heard about Ricardo Jones, 5-star safety that just committed to Clemson? So, DB Dorian, I'll make a video on him if you want me to, but let me say this. Ricardo Jones, he plays here in Georgia. So, shout out to Clemson for cleaning out the state of Georgia and taking players. But I think this is a complete miss. If he moves to linebacker, let's do it. But I think this is a complete miss on Ricardo Jones. He does not look like a natural football player to me, especially in the secondary. He's rigid. Rigid hips. The dexterity of a rhino. He does not look good on tape. And not from what I see. I see a kid who's kind of like overly athletic, but he's just running around doing other shit. Like, it just does not look good. I promise you it doesn't look good. I wouldn't lie to you. So, yeah, I know who he is. R.I.P. Ryan Mallett. Do you think James Houston from Detroit Lions will have an okay season this year or be a one-season wonder? You know, Jermaine, there's not a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball that have a one-hit wonder. There's just not. Defense is instinctive. You're in the right scheme. As long as you stay healthy, you can go out there and do some things. Okay, so, yeah, I'm with it. I think it's fine. I don't think it's bad. I think he'll be fine. I don't know if he's going to be as good. I sound good. It's loud. Sound like the plug. Word. Same. Yup. The same. No. Boom. Thank you for the tip, T. Hey, guys, T, any tips I get every single night, let me tell you guys something. I see some guys on TikTok Live. They get spammed so many gifts, and they have no talent whatsoever, and they're just sitting there oh, give me a gift. Hey, let's win this battle. And people are just throwing them money, and I don't get it. I don't have, like, I'm not able to shut off ethics, right? So the fact that I sit here every night and grind for 3 hours with you guys to get a tip from somebody, it really means a lot to me for you guys to share anything with me. I appreciate it. I'm never asking for it, but the tips matter, man. The tips get me through my day. I got to make a certain amount of money every day, so I appreciate the tips there. Thank you very much, T. Shout out to you. Thank you, Rico, for the 3 hours. You got it, Willie Bubba. I appreciate you. Why don't you like Brian Windhorst? He's just an eyesore. Nothing personal. He's just an eyesore. I'm tired of those dudes being on TV. That's all. Shout out to Shoelace Robinson. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah, it was a 5.37. Thank you very much, Prince. Prince is out here on the Google. Yeah, I remember his 40 being slow as a statue. I remember him throwing 9 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I remember him drinking too much. I remember a lot of things. He missed his alarm clock. Yeah, he's very unprofessional. And Brian Hoyer was beating him out in a quarterback battle on Hard Knocks. Come on, man. Brian Hoyer? Yeah, he definitely didn't need to keep fighting. People were acting like he was soft. Definitely not soft, Squints. Getting your eye poked, getting poked in the eye like that, you can't fight with one eye. I want you to go out and try to beat somebody with one eye open. Try it. It's not an equivalent athlete. It's not a professional athlete you're going to beat up. You're going to beat up some inebriated drunk guy who couldn't fight to begin with. But you ain't beating up me. It reminds me of that story when I went to this fight camp. Well, not fight camp. I went to this course in the Army for all the best MMA fighters in the Army. We all go to this course at Fort Benning, Georgia, where all the combat arms guys go, all the special forces guys, drill sergeants, whoever. And when we went to this course, we were in there, and they said, hey, we got to fight for a month, 8 hours a day. We got to find out who's the best fighters. And I was there. I knew I was going to be the best fighter. I just felt it. And I won honor graduate. I was the best fighter. But I can remember the first day. We were all in the locker room, and this guy was talking about trying to intimidate everybody. It's 48 of the best fighters in the Army. You're not going to intimidate anybody. We all train really hard. We were in the best shapes of our lives. But this guy just felt the need to just be talking. And we're all alpha males, but some of us are really about this, right? He goes, man, I went, because we got there over the weekend, and then the first day of the course was on Monday of the competition. And we're all in the locker room changing. And he's like, oh, I got here on Friday. I'm like, okay, well, I just drove in on Sunday. Got my hotel, and I'm here on Monday. But he says, oh, I got here Friday because I want to get acclimated. I'm like, all right, cool. He goes, but I went to the club Saturday. Yup. Beat up 3 dudes. I was like, okay. I just kind of looked at him. I'm changing. I'm like, all right, everybody's in the locker room yoked as hell. And he's like, I beat up 3 dudes. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I just, yeah, whatever. Dude's bragging. He's like, yeah, this guy bumped into me, spilled my drink. I said, what, punk? I checked him, da-da-da. So I punched him, turned around, I punched him. I did it. He said he beat up 3 dudes. The whole time, all I thought was, You didn't beat up 3 of me. You didn't beat up 3 of me. You can't beat up 1 of me. And throughout the month, the guy, he was I can tell, he's tough wherever he's from. You put your pants on one leg at a time like the rest of us, bro. You ain't superhuman. When we got done fighting for that month, I was the honor graduate. I was the top guy. I got the plaque in the room. I show it all the time. That dude wasn't in the top 12 fighters. He couldn't beat up one of a lot of people. Who are the 3 dudes you beat up, bro? So yeah, if you want to see a guy keep fighting in the UFC, that's ridiculous. He's fighting a professional fighter who's been training for the last who knows how many years to beat you. Let's not encourage that at all. You want people to be at 100% when they're fighting each other. They should have prelim bonuses and main card bonuses. Yeah, Squints. Or they should have a union where they advocate for higher pay. And now they don't have to scrape for these bonuses. My G, Rico, what up, man? Colorado looking good in 1v1 video today. You know, Black Moans, I watched it. So Colorado was doing 1v1s, DB drills against wide receivers. And it's nice to see iron sharpens iron, metal sharpens metal, right? So to see Shiloh actually out there jumping in on Jimmy Horn Jr., every single play, and seeing them go at it, see them talk smack, see them be competitive. That's what you need, and you can't shy away from it. I don't like that the white guys go against the white guys. I don't like that segregation. Get out there and put in work. I used to make my guys line up. I'd go numbers, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, 1's over here, 2's over here. And then you didn't get to see who was next in line because I don't want to see you trying to line up your matchup properly. I would make everybody face away. But it was just one of those things. I don't like people picking their opponent. The worst part about it, when you get out there on Sunday or Saturday, unless it's part of the game plan, you got to cover whoever shows up on your side of the field. You don't get to pick and choose your opponent. Unless you're Darrell Rivas following a guy around the field. No, man, you take whoever's in front of you. I want to see that at practice too. But shout out to them for picking each other. Got the Forerunner on the showroom. Hey, it's a true story, man. It wasn't on the showroom. It was like a dirt lot. It was outside. Shout out to Coachella, California. Off of Indio Boulevard. I would have figured your vehicle would have been in a chop shop. Yeah, Daniel Lee, so did we, right? So would we. But instead, I think they scraped off the VIN number. I was a kid. I don't remember specifics, but I do remember that. My memory's uncanny, guys. I guarantee you, if my brother and my father overheard me telling this story, I bet they would be impressed with all the details that I remember of this situation. I swear. Because that's how my brain works. I'm not supernatural. I'm just, like, the way I can just describe stuff from years upon years ago would just blow your mind. You'd be like, what the hell? Yep, that's just how I get down. Got shot and still came back before Michael Thomas. If you guys don't know, Michael Thomas still ain't back, bruh. Michael Thomas still ain't back. But Brian Robinson got shot and still came back. Pacheco also got crazy beat up last year too. Just played through it. There you go. Akers is legit. Cam Akers with a K. Okay, I get it now. How about Puka Williams from Louisiana that went to Kansas? Yeah, he didn't get drafted. Puka didn't get drafted. Puka went undrafted. Cam Akers would have been even far better at FSU if he had an O-line, for sure. I'm an FSU fan, but I'm high on Johnny Wilson. Any thoughts? Yeah, what do you mean but? Oh, but you're not high on Johnny Wilson. Well, if you're not, then you're high on Keon Coleman. But either way, they're both very good wide receivers. I think Johnny Wilson's good. You should be high on your targets that your quarterback's going to be throwing to. Johnny Wilson's one of them. Remember that. Johnny Wilson's good. I'm Team Barry Sanders for best athlete ever by far as a runner. There's no one near Barry Sanders. Yeah, so you're giving him a free pass. Because anytime a player quits on his team and doesn't play anymore, we ridicule him for it. Right? James Harden quit on the Rockets to get traded. He just went and got fat, out of shape, and stopped practicing hard until he got traded. We get on guys all the time for quitting, but we give Barry Sanders a free pass. Because he holds the NFL record for most runs for loss. He holds the NFL record for most negative rushing yards. I watched Barry Sanders get massive amount of yards in blowout losses in the second half against backup running backs. Or backup linebackers, I'm sorry. Backup defenses would come in. They'd be losing by so much, they'd bring in backups, and then Barry Sanders would get a ton of yards in the second half. All those highlights you see are against backups in the second half. I lived it. I watched it. I remember it vividly. I studied it, and I went, man, this guy is just getting empty stats against nobody. This is crazy. And no one cares? And he just quit? No. Hey, Rico, what do you think about an undrafted corner out of Coastal Carolina, Jordan Strong? So, nothing particular about Jordan Strong. That's how I feel about it. I would say 24/7 or Rivals, Rico. Oh, off the rankings. That's why I pulled it up. I got you. How would you feel about Group of 5 potentially having their own championship separate from Power 5? So, Connor, obviously everybody's asking me this because of the Pate thing. I don't watch that guy's content. I don't care what he says or what he does. I don't find other content creators interesting for the most part. But he said that Group of 5 teams should be playing for their own championship. No. It's a terrible idea. Somebody then wrote 99% of Group of 5 teams lose to Power 5. No, they don't get to play them. The elite of the Group of 5 couldn't beat Power 5 teams. You just don't want to see it. You just don't want to admit it. They can't do it every year. They can do it enough to be relevant. Remember this. UCF, when they went undefeated, they beat Auburn. They're real. And then the next year, they had to play Georgia, and Georgia beat them. And everybody goes, see, we told you they couldn't beat Georgia. No, dude, calm down. It was 2 years in a row they were undefeated. Slated to be undefeated. They were just so amazing. Utah beat Bama years ago with Urban Meyer. Boise State was great. Every year they were in the top 5. You don't give them a chance to play for the title, we don't get to talk about it. But they're still very good teams. No, none of these teams want to play Troy, UTSA, Ohio Bobcat. You don't want to play these teams. You don't. It's not a cakewalk. It's not easy. But if we've learned anything, it's the appeal of March Madness. This is why everyone wants a playoff expansion. Because you got to give the little guy a chance. You got to. Because they can win. 16 seeds are winning now. San Diego State's in the Final Four. FAU goes on a run. A 30-game winning team went on a run. You can do it on every level. You can do it on every level. Group of 5 teams can play with anybody. They don't have a separate draft. It's just the amount of money committed to the programs is what it is. But it's really about TV contracts. That's what sets the Power 5 apart from the others. They just have more revenue. So they have higher recruiting budgets. They have better facilities. But the players on the field, it's 11 on 11. Put your pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. Appalachian State beat Michigan in front of the world. This is not an anomaly. It happens every year. They just don't want you to acknowledge it. They don't even want to talk about it. But it happens. And if there was a tournament of 32 teams, it would happen a lot more often than you think. It really would. But it would ruin a lot of resources. It would ruin a lot of chances for those Power 5 teams to be even more wealthy. Yeah, there's Group of 5 teams right now that'll beat the brakes off of the bottom half of some of these Power 5 conferences. So to try to shun them to their own conference is ridiculous. Follow the basketball format. We love Cinderellas. We love underdog stories. And those teams eventually have studs. Eventually, they're doing. We're not talking about FCS. We're talking about Power 5 versus Group of 5. Are you kidding me? SMU just had one of the best transporter classes ever, man. You don't want to see some of these teams. Cincinnati being undefeated that year in the playoffs, they lost. Did they lose any worse than TCU just lost in the national championship? No. I watched Kent State lose to Georgia way closer than TCU versus Georgia. Kent State played them way harder. UMass played Texas A&M better than Auburn did. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand. What's your advice for someone who wants to become a sports reporter, me, and how I can get there? I currently have a podcast and I'm trying to put out content. Just never feel motivated for some reason. All right, AJ interviews. A couple things I would recommend to you and everybody else is I started this 6 months ago, but I've been preparing for this my whole life, right? I'm a public speaker. I'm an aggressive and assertive communicator. I've been a first sergeant for the last 3 years. I've been a master sergeant in the Army. I've been talking to massive amounts of people every single day of my adult life. I've been preparing for this. I don't get nervous. I don't struggle with my words. I don't stumble and fumble around. I don't need like another take and another edit and another edit. I can just go. There's no teleprompter in front of me. I'm built for this, mentally, physically, emotionally. But I've been doing so much preparation for this that I'm talking about a topic or a subject that I'm a subject matter expert in. So I don't get nervous. Like, I got this list of running backs here. I don't even know who's on the list. I don't know what order they're in. I don't care who comes up. I can just go. But the reason I can just go is I did research for years upon years upon years. And you can ask Kim Jones, you can ask Willie Bobo, you can ask Rico Mix or Marantz Rants, whoever, who's ever seen me in action. The amount of studying I do in real life is insane. It's all preparation for this. And who's watching me? 40, 50 people? I'm ready for 10,000. I'm ready for millions. 40, 50 people. Does it discourage me? No. Because it's a passion. Because it's what I love to do. But I'm good at it. You got to give a take and see who's rocking with you. That's what you have to do, guys. And I just told you, I make 20 videos a day. 10 videos a day. And they don't all hit. But you just keep churning them out. And you get better. I've gotten better at my storytelling. Story time, I've gotten better. I've gotten better. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I just made up a slogan in the middle of nowhere. When I started talking sports, I wasn't called Rico Knows. It evolved. I was Rico 1128, 1128. And then somebody said, Rico, there's too many numbers to remember. What do those numbers mean? I can't even remember that. And I'm like, oh, I got to make it easier. Let me come up with something. Okay, I'm going to go with Rico Knows. Damn, I need this, I need this, I need this. I don't know how to use this software to give you guys graphics and a ticker on the bottom. Let me learn that. All right, how do I learn OBS? Let me go do that. Just keep churning every day, learning more, retaining more. But you got to be all in. I don't half-ass anything. But it's something I talked about on one of my promotion speeches in the Army, is I learned to be the best at whatever it is I do in my life. I'll be the best at whatever I do in my life. I tell you guys this all the time. There's a woman right now, and she's an amazing manager at Burger King. And she's probably one of the best managers at Burger King in the world. And she's there, and nobody can touch her or whatever, right? Dude, the day I want to become a Burger King manager, she's out of a job. That's my mindset. That's my mindset. Whatever I want to do in this world, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be the best at it. That's what you have to do. That's how you become great at things. That's why I could be sitting here and just go, yo, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this for a living. And I'm doing this right here. I don't know what else to tell you. Find your motivation. But AJ, be great. If you're not great, you'll know right away. Sometimes I watch people with their own podcast. I get tagged in a ton of podcasts. I get tagged in so many videos, it's crazy. And the minute I watch them, I go, oh no, they shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be doing this. But if you watch my video, it's like, oh, this guy should be doing this. This guy needs a studio. I can't wait till he gets signed somewhere. I can't wait till somebody discovers him or finds him. I can't wait. And then guys write me in the messages and they're like, hey, Rico, I heard you were on Joe Budden. You made it. And I didn't make it. They didn't ask me to be on the show. I'm not there talking. They didn't say to one another, hey, did you hear what Rico Knows said? He said this. They didn't do that. They do that with Skip Bayless. They do that with Shannon Sharp. They do that with Stephen A. Smith. They quote these guys like they know what they're talking about. I'm better than all of them. Nobody's quoting me yet. I'm not discouraged. I'm hungry. I'm here. I'm 40 years old, man. I say 10 years from now, I'm still doing this 10 years from now. And I'm untouchable. And I'm untouchable 10 years from now. You know, how old is Stephen A. Smith? $55. I got 15 years. And he said, there's a story out there where he said he was almost unemployed and didn't think he was getting back on TV until like 3 years ago. And now he's the number one guy at ESPN. I'm better than him. And you guys don't know it. You know it. You're here. So find the motivation to be great, but at the same time, recognize if you're not great. Maybe it's not for you. But I literally just talk. I did this on YouTube. I just showed up, made a channel, and just started going. And guess what? It's not growing nearly as fast as my TikTok. My TikTok, we're going to be at 100,000. I promise you, we're going to be at 100,000 before the end of the year. I started talking sports last December. By the time we get to December, we're going to be at 100,000. I promise. I promise you. YouTube? Let's go with, let me take a guess, 5,000. 100,000, 5,000. Not discouraged. Still good. You just got to work on it. I know it's a long shot, but do you think Iowa State could win the conference? So, Connor, no. I don't think Iowa State can win the conference. I think they can have a really good year. They have a good quarterback, right? Hunter Dekkers is a good quarterback. They lost 6 games last year by 1 possession, or 7 points or less, 8 points or less. They could have very easily won 10 games last year. They didn't. They only won 4. But 6 games were 1-possession games. They got to flip that around. And they got the team to do it. I don't think they can win the conference, though. No. Hey, Rico. South Carolina got an interesting commit, a Georgia kid named David Busey. Know anything about him? Plays at Savannah Christian, linebacker, safety for South Carolina. No, I don't know. I don't know the name. I'd have to go look into him. With the commitments, I'll explain this to you guys. With the commitments, I do know a good portion of all the high school players. I keep going over film throughout the whole season. Like from now until National Letter of Intent Day, I'm all in on them. Especially, nobody's jumping in the transfer portal until December 5th, right, when the window opens. So from now until December, I'm not worried about the portal. I can focus on recruiting. And when I do that, I start identifying all these individuals. I don't care where they committed to verbally because they're going to change their mind. Once they sign, I go through every recruiting class and crunch every single one of them and go through all their huddle films. Look at what high schools they went to, where they're from, just to get familiarization, their names, add them to my databases, and then I go from there. So once they sign, the verbal part doesn't really move me because they can verbally decommit, commit, recommit, all this shit. So shout out to you. I'll look into it if you really want me to know. But send me a DM. I'll add it to the stack. There's a long line. It's going to take a while. Do you think Texans will be able to win over 11 games now that they have C.J. Stroud? Civilian. Rookie quarterbacks tend not to win 11 games. Just not unless you join a winning team. Not unless you're a quarterback drafted somewhere in the 20s. If you're a rookie quarterback drafted in the 20s, that means you're going to a winning team. But if you're one of these top 10 picks, that's not happening. No, I can't go there. New head coach, your number 1 wide receiver is going to be Tank Dell at some point. C.J. Stroud like this. No, you got one of the worst starting running backs. You got Damon Pierce coming up over here. No, what are we doing? No. Rico, what's up, man? What you got on how Stanford is going to look this year? Seems like they're loaded up. Thoughts? Michael Fuller. So they've loaded up verbally. I'm excited for them. They got 20 recruits. They got a great running back. I showed him on another clip just a couple days ago. They made me cut the clip out of my live stream because of copyright concerns, the volume of the song. I can't be playing music, and Huddle Tape played music, and apparently that song was copyrighted. It was just an instrumental, but whatever. So, yeah, I like a lot of Stanford kids. I think one of the wide receivers is not good, but I said he wasn't going to be very good. I think it's the kid from Jersey or Tennessee. Got to go back and look. But I liked a lot of the kids they signed. I'm encouraged by them. So Stanford's got their work cut out, though. They can't use the transfer portal like everybody else. They cannot get undergraduate transfers. They're getting graduate transfers from the Ivy League, and they're getting maybe 1 or 2 transfers approved by the school. They got an uphill battle. But Elijah Brown at quarterback, modern day's finest, it's a stud of a quarterback. Troy Taylor being a great coach, you got it. Jermaine Cash Grab says, start, bench, cut. Who am I going to start, bench, or cut? It's cool. Sean Taylor, Brian Dawkins, or Troy Polamalu? So unlike you guys, I don't think Sean Taylor's generational. I don't think he's that good. Short career, just quit on life. Yeah, he didn't take football serious enough. I'm going to start Troy Polamalu. I'm going to bench Brian Dawkins, and I'm going to cut Sean Taylor because he seems like a bust. There you go. Brian Windhorst is probably the only talking head who consistently on the money with his predictions in terms of basketball. Still annoying to me for some reason, though. Haha. Yeah, Connor, I think the guy talks the truth. He's just an eyesore, that's all. I like people who work out and take care of their bodies and care about how they look. You don't see any obese people over the age of 80. Go start looking around. You see obese people everywhere. For some reason, at around 70, we don't see anymore. Where'd they go? They're not around anymore. They died. Just want to put that out there. Or you could be 6'7", 250 and drown. Rico, he beat up 3 Frank Michael Smiths. Exactly. That's the creator, by the way. That's Milli Vanilli, bruh. We do not say that name in this vicinity. That's Milli Vanilli. Why do you think that center is the toughest position to play in football? So, Connor, a couple things. Centers call protection. So centers will call protection, check slide protection, whichever way they got to go. Centers are, have you ever tried to snap a ball? Snap a ball, you got to lean forward on that ball for your three-point stance. Keep your head up, get the ball back to your nutsack. Like, it's tough, man. Being a center is very difficult, and more importantly, pulling as a center is just next level. So if you ever see a center pull, kick out and lead block or any of that nature, man, that center's real. Belly blocking, trap blocking, it's cool. But yeah, shout out to center. Center's a difficult position. I don't know if it's the toughest position in football, but it's there. I think quarterback's the toughest. Quarterback is definitely the toughest position in football. Quarterback, everybody plays quarterback. There's quarterbacks all over the world. There's quarterbacks at every university, every high school. There's quarterbacks all over the place. We cannot find 32 good quarterbacks on this planet at any given time. At any given time in the history of this planet, we have not had 32 good quarterbacks. We haven't. Think about how difficult that position is. We haven't had 32 good quarterbacks ever in the history of humans. Playing quarterback is extremely difficult in the NFL. Very. Clock management, game management, getting the snap off before the game clock goes, knowing the play, the audibles, reading the defense, knowing where everyone's supposed to be, giving the right call, hard count, then threading the needle, reading the right defense. I mean, it's insane. Insane. Rico is a walking book. Shout out to you, Paguno. I'm a running book, yo. I'm a friend of Johnny Wilson's family. I've been watching him since Pop Warner in California. Okay. Ain't no such thing as quitting on team. The 49ers quit on Jerry Rice. Hey, Rico, did you get a chance to check out Brady Drogish, the 4-star at UC? A lot of hype around him at Clifton. So, yes, but there's no hype from me because he's not going to see the field. I don't care about hype and recruits. You're not going to see the field. You can hit the transfer portal before you ever see the field. You can go to practice and look like shit and get thrown in the portal by coach. Not cool. Barry Sanders is the only runner to have 1,500 yards, 5 stars. Keep it real, bro. 5. Yeah, I kept it real. I told you guys what I said. Randy Moss quit on the Raiders, but I still call him the GOAT. Yeah, we give Randy Moss a pass too. I like Randy Moss. I think he is the GOAT. Give him a pass as well. Everybody's giving these quitters a pass. Rico, you the man. Southern California loves you. Thank you. Won't be going back. 99 touchdowns by Barry Sanders just proves he was great in between the 10s. In between the 10s. Fair enough. You are wonderful at this. You remind me of Stuart Scott. I'm as cool as the other side of the pillow, but I ain't dying anytime soon. Scott Frost had UCF looking like world beaters. Yes, he did. He was able to recruit in Florida and get his players. He got to Nebraska, he couldn't recruit. You know, there's a funny story. There are these fireworks. I can't find the printout for you. I had it yesterday, and I wanted to show you guys. But there are Scott Frost fireworks. They're called Frost Warning fireworks. They sell them in Nebraska. Let me try to find it real quick. It's hilarious. Frost Warning fireworks. Is my computer acting up again? My goodness. For whatever reason, anytime I get on here, and I get on with you guys, my computer's getting pushed to the limit. What was it called? Frost Warning. Frost Warning fireworks. Hilarious. Oh, of course, Outkick took the story. Let me see if they got a picture of it so you guys can see it. They're selling fireworks here. Where's the picture? Come on, there they are. Frost Warning fireworks, 16 shots. Get a load of this. Their price, $16.31. You know why they're $16.31? Because Scott Frost won 16 games and 31 losses at Nebraska. They're making fun of Scott Frost in Nebraska. The Frost Warning, 16-31. 16 wins, 31 losses, right there. Hilarious, bruh. That's a damn shame right there. Shout out to Scott Frost for being terrible at his alma mater. Anyways. Anywho. Hey, I'm going to stop on that one. I'm going to go back to the list here. So let's go look at these running backs. And let's go see who we got. We got Rachaad White here. Rachaad White, if you guys don't know who he is, He actually played at Nebraska Kearney. They're like the Loopers. It's some other school. I forget the division level. It's 2 or 3, or it's not FCS, I don't think. So he was there, didn't make it, dropped out or whatever, goes to JUCO, and then after going to Mount Sac, JUCO up in Hemet, then he goes to Arizona State. And that's how he got to the NFL. So there you go. James Cook, never started a game in college. I don't care what anybody says. Never started a game in college. In high school, James Cook, he played at Miami Central where his brother played. He was committed to Florida State, but he flipped at the last second, right, to go to Georgia. But what people don't know is after his sophomore year, he reclassified. He skipped his junior year. He reclassified to be a senior the next year. I can remember I watched him play one game, and then the next year, he was a sophomore, and I'm like, man, that's a really good sophomore running back. Dalvin Cook's little brother. And then the next year, I'm like, wait, what the hell? It threw me off. He skipped his junior year. He was a senior all of a sudden. One thing that's crazy about James Cook is he didn't start a game at Georgia, and he hasn't started a game in the NFL. He still hasn't started a game for the Bills. So they're saying he's the guy now, but he still hasn't started a game. Damon Pierce, he's from Georgia. I think he only rushed or didn't go over 600 yards in college. Under 600 yards in college. It's crazy. Jahmyr Gibbs. If you guys don't know, Jahmyr Gibbs was an ACC running back at Georgia Tech. Just an average guy. 11th in the ACC in rushing before he transferred to Bama. 11th in the conference. He's no Israel Boniconda. He's 11th in the conference. He actually had less rushing yards than his quarterback, Jeff Sims. Jeff Sims at Georgia Tech had more rushing yards than his own running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs was all conference, running back, all-purpose back, whatever the hell that is. They go running back, all-purpose back, and kickoff returner. He was three different things, 3 different positions. Second team, all ACC. 3 different positions, all ACC before he transferred. Jahmyr Gibbs. This is a Georgia kid, okay? Georgia all the way in high school. He was everything. I promise you guys he was everything. So shout out to him. DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny. Oh, they don't know who's going to be the starter there? Who should I go over first? How about Rashad Penny in college? Do you guys remember him at San Diego State? 2,248 yards? Come on. Give him some love. That's a San Diego State. That's a California kid. I can remember his senior year. He had 2,500 yards rushing and 500 yards receiving, something like that. He had over 3,000 yards his senior year. Rashad Penny. It must have been a nightmare to deal with in high school. 3,000 yards? I don't want no part of that guy. I'm just letting you know. DeAndre Swift was actually a Pennsylvania kid. Actually a PA kid. So he's from Philly. So he's home. He's home right now. But for me, the thing about DeAndre Swift, I don't know why it's so exciting. I think he's going home just to call it a day. He only started 4 games his rookie year, 4 games the next year, and then 8 games last year. He's never started more than 8 games in a season. He's never been the back. So I don't know why they put him up here to be this guy. One guy is a workhorse, and one guy is an occasional running back. Tell me. Miles Sanders, he's from Pitt. He's from Pittsburgh. And he snubbed Pitt. He was Mr. Football in Pennsylvania. Supposed to go to Pitt, and then he flipped to Penn State. Didn't start ever at Penn State. Never had over 200 yards rushing. Every single year until his senior year. This is a 1-year production back. 1,200 yards, 1,274, I think, his senior year. But he didn't do anything the whole time. And then out of nowhere, he becomes a starter. I couldn't believe it. Javonte Williams. Where did Javonte go to college? I can't remember where he played in college. Somebody know? I don't know if somebody knows. I just know that in high school he was a valedictorian. How about them apples? He was the valedictorian in high school before he went to college. Where did he go? It'll come to me. It happens. J.K. Dobbins, Mr. Ohio State here. J.K. Dobbins did not play his senior year. So he's coming back from injury. I need you guys to know this. He was injured in high school. He didn't play his senior year, but his junior year he rushed for 2,700 yards, and his sophomore year 2,200 yards. Think about that. And in high school, you got a sophomore, 2,200 yards. Junior year, 27. What was he going to do his senior year? 3,000 yards? But he got injured. He never played it down. He was a good player, but he never played it down. Joe Mixon. I bet you guys don't know this about Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's a California kid. Joe Mixon is a California kid. I bet you don't know it. I'm just saying. And if you knew it, shout out to you. He scored a 12 on the Wonderlic test. I don't know what you can score on the Wonderlic test, but Joe Mixon scored a 12, if I remember correctly. And I do. I always remember correctly. I'm just saying. So, Joe Mixon scores a 12. He's from California. I want to tell you he had only 2 seasons in college. Remember this. First year, he got kicked off the team because he hit a girl. Because he messed the girl up pretty bad. If I remember correctly. How about Najee Harris? Another California kid. You guys think Bama's getting all their players from the SEC? We're so good because we get them from the SEC. Nah, bruh. You got Bryce Young from California. Shout out to Georgia. You got Brock Bowers. Shout out to Ole Miss. You got Matt Corral. And now Najee Harris, in case you guys didn't know, is a California kid. 100%. From California to Bama. Three, I repeat, 3 2,000-yard rushing seasons in high school. I swear to you. And he got more every year. Sorry, Ash is getting nervous. Sorry about that. I remember he went for 22-63, 22-something, and then 27 his last year. Promise you. What's crazy is he went to a camp in high school. I remember when he got on my radar. He did all those 2,000-yard years. I'm paying attention to him. So he goes to like a rivals camp or something. And they do his height and weight. And he's 6'3", 226 pounds. I remember looking at it going, whoa, this is a huge running back. 6'3", 226? Najee Harris? And then at the combine, he's 6'1", 242. He shrunk 2 inches. They weren't lying about height and weight. They measure them at the camp, don't they? Or do they just ask him? And then they say, oh, yeah, he's officially 6'3", 226. It's crazy, bro. Najee Harris shrunk 2 inches over the last 5 years or so. Nuts. The nerve of these guys. I'll do Dalvin Cook real quick and then we'll get back to the chat. Dalvin Cook, freshman year, didn't play football his freshman year in high school. He's at Miami Central, and he's good enough to play. But he doesn't go out for the football team because he wouldn't be the starting running back on the varsity team. You know who was? Ding, ding, ding. Let's see if anybody knows. I'm going to go to the chat and see if anybody... Don't be Googling this. Does anybody know... who started over Dalvin Cook his freshman year? Now, he didn't start over him. Dalvin Cook couldn't be the starting running back at Miami Central, so he didn't even go out for the football team because there was a running back on the team already, a senior, and he couldn't beat him out. I don't think anybody knows. Nah, I gave you guys too much time. I don't want nobody Googling this. Devontae Freeman. Shout out to Jeff Allen. Devontae Freeman was the starting running back, and Cook said, I can't start. So he didn't go out for the football team. Game recognized game, right? Devontae Freeman's a beast. Shout out to the little dude. Not in the NFL anymore, but shout out to him. Shout out to Dalvin Cook for knowing his limitations. Obviously, Alvin Kamara was at Bama, but before he got to Bama, he was Mr. Football in Georgia. He was everything. I'm telling you guys, he looked amazing. Mr. Football in Georgia, I live in Georgia, goes to Bama, gets kicked out of practice, not allowed to practice because Nick Saban said he's breaking team rules. So he gets kicked out of school, gets kicked out of Bama, goes the JUCO route, becomes an All-American. I think he rushed for over 1,200 yards in 10 games in JUCO. And then he, okay, Ash. And then he goes to Tennessee and does his thing. So shout out to Alvin Kamara. Travis Etienne, one of the greatest high school running backs ever. Over 8,800 yards rushing in his high school career. Do the math on that. Over 8,800 yards rushing in his high school career. I think 115 touchdowns. Travis Etienne was a beast in high school. You knew he was going to be great. 8,800 yards. Ramondre Stevenson was a JUCO guy. That's another JUCO guy on the list. But this time he went to a JUCO straight out of high school. So he's JUCO to Oklahoma. Was it Cerritos? JUCO to Oklahoma. I don't remember if it was Cerritos or not. I can't remember. Was it Cerritos? I don't know. Bijan Robinson, you know, he played high school ball in Tucson, Arizona. But what's hilarious about it is he rushed for 2,200 yards, but he did it on 126 carries. Do that again. 126 carries, 2,235 yards in high school. Bijan Robinson. Once again, 126 carries, do the average on that. I know Reggie Bush, when he was at Helix, he averaged over 10 yards a carry his whole high school career. But Bijan Robinson put up stupid numbers in Tucson. Them little dudes couldn't tackle him. Not them dudes from Nogales. Kenneth Walker's a transfer, y'all. Kenneth Walker used to play at Wake Forest, and then he transferred to Michigan State. So, congrats. All right, let me get back to the chat. And we'll go from there. Sorry about that. We'll stop on the top 10ers left. We got the top 10 left. Let's go back to your guys' questions, and I'll answer everything I can. Where are we at? Shout out Liberty beating Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Arkansas taking Wake Forest to overtime. We here. Yep, group of 5 team. Putting in work. Old Dominion did the same thing. They beat Virginia Tech as well. From 2013 to 2021, James Harden came into training camp out of shape every year. He's always been a guy who plays himself into shape, just not a good work ethic at all. Shout out to you, Connor. Thoughts on Shane Beamer? Think he can last at South Carolina? So Carolina rundown, I actually like Shane Beamer a lot. I think he can last at South Carolina if fans allow coaches to build a following, to build, he needs a foundation. He's great at recruiting. He's doing great with what he has. Just got to understand that there's an upper echelon of the SEC, and then there's everybody else. And they're in the everybody else group. You just got to be at the top of the everybody else group. You don't need to out-recruit LSU, Bama, and Georgia. No. But you got to go out there and you got to compete with these guys for their recruits. You got to win in the state of Georgia and South Carolina for your recruits. So getting Sellers, Lenora Sellers, right? Quarterback. Beating Syracuse for a quarterback, that's good. But you should not even be in contention of losing the number one quarterback in your state to Syracuse. That should not be happening. You're the SEC, supposedly, right? So I like South Carolina. Shane Beamer's doing his thing. Anyone will quit if they played for the Lions. Megatron quit on that poverty franchise. Cowboys had offensive line, better team than Sanders. All Sanders run, juking off defenders because he's in the offense. Yeah, Chris E., I just have a different perspective. I don't think the Cowboys' offensive line was all that great. I watched it. I don't think it was all that great. Larry Allen's great. Nate Newton sold a bunch of drugs to stay wealthy. But Mark Tuinei, not great, man. Eric Williams was solid. But I can name the whole offensive line. I know these teams. I am a fanatic of the game of football. I know these teams. People talk about the offensive line being so great. But, and don't tell me Barry didn't have anybody. Herman Moore had the NFL record for receptions in a season, 122 receptions in a season. Brett Perriman was there. No, it's different. The hardest position in football is left tackle. Stop the cap. I refuse to believe that. Refuse. 100%. Everybody should have a chance to win no matter who you are. Thank you very much. Nah, I'm with the center take. Got to snap the ball, set the tone for the offensive line as well. Call the passing pro. For sure. Not giving me credit for the OBS classes. I'm done with this dude. Roll out Morant's rants. Bar for bar, though, I don't know what we're talking about. You're not better than me at TFT, YouTube, or finance. GG. All right. That guy is outrageous. Morant's respect the GOAT. Thank you very much. Morant's is a GOAT. He's a Billy GOAT. He eats anything. Have you guys ever been to a petting zoo? And you can feed a goat paper, and they'll eat it. You can feed a goat anything, they're going to eat it. That dude eats anything. Man, you ain't no 40. I'm 40. I'm a man. I'm 40. Stephen A. Smith is a sellout for real. For real. He's a puppet, for sure. Yo, I'm trying to see Rico versus Stephen A. He don't want no part of that. Don't get me started on Malika Andrews. Not familiar. Malika could for sure get it. Oh, I don't know who that is. Is that a girl? Apparently that's a girl, because if Paguno said she can get it, they can get it, they can get it. She's a bad analyst, bro. Oh, she's a bad analyst? On one of the most special nights of this NBA player's career, she gonna bring up Miller's past, like what? Oh, okay. She was one of the draft people? the whole panel, the whole emphasis of ESPN to have a diverse panel bothers the hell out of me. It's constant. Instead of just picking the best people for the job, they can't have a white male on there. They can't have Jay Billis on there. They just can't. They got to go out and we got to season it up a little bit, and then we got a bunch of people going, yeah, I don't know. I can't stand it. Hey, Rico, can you talk about Jason Mader and what his impact will be next season? Connor, I owe you an answer before I give that answer. How about that? Ask me tomorrow. Ask me tomorrow. How about them apples? I owe you an answer. I don't like winging stuff. I want to be 100% factual when I give you my take. Ask me tomorrow. Please come back. Stephen A. Smith is smart. He knows what people want to watch. He watched the ratings and controversy, but if you keep it on podcasts and other shows, but you see him on his podcast and other shows, he says he had to rebrand in order to be that guy. So, Chris E., I don't think Stephen A. is smart. I think the producers are smart. All those guys on TV do not choose the topics they're talking about. They don't choose their take or their side. No. They aren't doing anything original. There are producers that create the content that they're going to discuss for the day. They come into a meeting 2 hours before the show. They get told, here's the topic for the day. Here's what we're going to debate about. Here's what we're going to transition to. Here's who we're interviewing. Nothing. All he does is add flair to it with his personality. Yell, scream, He's just antics. He didn't write the script. He's an actor. He didn't write the script. There's nothing about it. Now, his podcast, his radio show, I'd imagine he has more creativity in those realms, but nobody wants to watch or hear that shit. I actually can't stand him. If I hear his voice, it's going on mute immediately. I will not listen to that guy's voice. It irks me. Can't stand him even a little bit. They will get 6 to 7 wins. I don't know who they are. You can't just say they. By the time I get to it, I have no idea what you're talking about. Brandon Miller's past is pretty relevant, though. Yeah, no shit. The incident happened within the past 6 months. It's not like they're bringing up something from 7 years ago. And I can't stand when they bring up something from 7 years ago. Okay, I can't stand it. I hate all the sob stories, feel-good stories. I just want to know about their sports career, their history, their journey, whatever. But I don't need to hear about how they were homeless for 3 days and only ate tuna, and then they had a sister that found them later and raised them from birth. Like, I just don't care. Opinion on Freddie Roberson, new wide receiver at Mississippi State. So, number one, Mississippi State changing their offense. R.I.P. Mike Leach. I went and watched Freddie Roberson's tape. He's from Eastern Washington. FCS guy. Looks very underwhelming. When I looked at other FCS wide receivers, DeAndre McCray, I looked at Elijah Huzzie at corner. I looked at, who's the kid at Georgia Tech? Tall, skinny, there's a kid from No Fork State. Forgetting the name right now. I looked at every FCS guy coming up. The most underwhelming FCS guy was Roberson. On the tape. Just doesn't look like he would win a whole lot of matchups at the FBS level. Ton, yards, productivity, he's this, that. I'm not convinced he's that guy. I don't think he's going to have a big year. That's how I feel. Bringing it up. Okay, what's up, Rico? What up, Braden Miller? R.I.P. Ryan Mallett. Thanks. What do you think about Michael Fletcher transfer to App State from MSU? 1 second. Let's pull him up. Transfer portal. I really want to go to the On3 version, but I think I can do it from here. So, App State to MSU. Transfer from App State to App State. So, Sunbelt, App State. Oh. So, Fletcher, being a former 4-star from Michigan State, everybody talks about him. Like he's good. Everybody brings him up to me in my chat. This was actually brought up back in the winter. I haven't been asked about him recently. That's why I had to go pull it. And it'll go in my brain. It'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this guy. Nothing special. This is a role player at best. In the rotation, even at App State, I don't think he's a huge upgrade. I look at it and I go, hey, this guy, to me, doesn't impress. Matter of fact, give me a second here. He's not even starting. Look at this. This is the depth chart on our lads. And when you go look, Michael Fletcher is this yellow name right here. He's not even starting. So you transferred to App State and you're just going to be in the rotation. Because you weren't even in the rotation at Michigan State. Thank you for being here, but you're not starting. And the guys that you're not starting over, they're literally underclassmen. They have the same amount of eligibility as you. You're just in the rotation. Welcome to a place you probably belong. That's how I feel about him. Thank you for asking, though. It's cool. Back to the chat. Thank you won't be coming back has me dead. Thank you won't be coming back. You won't. You won't be coming back. Thank you won't be coming back has me dead. Who are you talking about? Joe Arner. Did I say that earlier? Bro, his dark humor is insane. His dark humor is insane. Shout out to you, Paguno. I don't know what I said. What dark humor did I say? Or did somebody else say it? Poor Scott Frost. He went from being a Nebraska legend to public enemy number 1. Well, that's what happens. If I'm not mistaken, but didn't Jeff Sims transfer? Yes, Jeff Sims transferred. Jeff Sims is the starting quarterback at Nebraska. He didn't just transfer. He won the starting job at Nebraska, and he's the reason Nebraska's quarterback from last year transferred to FAU. I can show you the musical chairs. Yeah. Jeff Sims transferred. DeAndre Swift doesn't know how to stay healthy. Yeah, we know. Unk. What is Unk? UNC? Oh, he went to UNC, the running back. How much do you value the ability to extend a play with your legs at the quarterback position? Connor, more than ever. More than ever. If you're a statue, I don't like it. If you have the ability to extend the play, you got to be running a 4.8 40 or faster. I like it. Freeman, I can't answer that. Oh. I don't pay attention to players until college and sometimes pros. Yeah, Ghost, that means you won't even know who they are. That means when you go to the NFL draft, you don't know who the hell's getting drafted. That's crazy. You don't know who's in the league. You're just sitting there going, oh, yeah, that guy's good, that guy's not. You have no clue. That's nuts. If somebody gets hurt in an NFL game, I know who's coming in. If somebody gets tired, I know who's coming in. I know when it's a mismatch. That's essential for teams to know when they can go and exploit the corner that just came in, or the nickel package, or the dime package. It's essential to know who you can attack and run over when they rotate in the defensive line. Because the new guy's in, and you're like, oh, that guy's a scrub. I've been watching him for 5 years. That guy can't do anything. He's terrible against the run. It's essential. Didn't Kamara split time with Jalen Hurd at UT? Not necessarily split time. He was just a third down back, all-purpose back. Jonathan Gray is the exact reason why I don't pay attention to high school. He was supposed to be a for sure thing, and he ain't do squat. Stop anointing people. There's a different thing there, Ghost. I pay attention to everybody from high school. I don't anoint them. I don't go, oh my God, he's a 5-star. He's amazing. I don't do that at all. I don't give a shit how many stars they are. I don't say this guy's supposed to be great and he didn't amount to nothing. I go and watch their tape. And I go, wow, that guy's pretty good. Like today, I made a video about a quarterback today, and I said, I think I found the next Lamar Jackson. I don't know how many stars he is. I don't care how many stars he is. I didn't go check. He might be a 3-star quarterback committed to UNLV, and I go, man, this is the fastest quarterback I've seen on tape. All offseason. I've been looking at quarterbacks on tape. This is the fastest one I've seen. He's an elite athlete. Triple jumps over 51 feet. Led the nation in the triple jump in high school. That's an athlete. He's bounding. He's leaping. He's gliding. He's got a stride you can't mess with. And then I put on the tape and I go, whoa, this guy's amazing. I don't know how many stars he is. I don't know if they're going to move him to receiver or running back. Don't care. I don't care what they talk about. And everybody always sends me a DM. Rico, you really need to see this guy. Hey, Rico, can you go look at this guy? And every guy they're telling me to go look at is a 5-star player. Why do I have to go look at a 5-star player that everybody else has already looked at? What do you want me to say? You want me to tell you the truth about this guy? You want me to look at the 5-star tape and go, hey, this guy's not a 5-star? Everyone will go crazy. They'll be furious with me because I don't work for one of these nerd websites who don't even look at the players. They just talk to the colleges and go, hey, Bama, who are you guys offering? Oh, that guy? Oh, he must be a 5-star. Let's make him a 5. Hey, did you hear this guy was a 3-star? Yeah, he's a 3-star player, but no, he just signed with Notre Dame. Oh, shit, move him up. He's 5-star now. It's exactly what happens the last week of the recruiting rankings. The very last week of the recruiting rankings, dudes are flying up and down the chart by the 100 soon as they verbally commit to a different school. Because we got to change these recruiting rankings. We got to change the classes. We got to give them different rankings. I see guys, if they commit to the SEC, boom, they move up the chart. If they change their mind and say, I'm going to go to my local team, I'm going to go to ACC, shoot down the chart by the hundreds. I almost made a video about it, but I let it go because I was busy with the transfer portal. This was last December. I will not let it go next year. I will point it out. They're just going to be moving dudes up and down based on the school they commit to. They don't know these players. You should know these players. I think Shane Beamer will go and follow his pop's footsteps at Virginia Tech. Maybe. Javante went to North Carolina. There we go. Malika's an NBA analyst. No, she's just a talking head on TV. She doesn't analyze anything in the NBA. Let's be very clear. Don't throw around the word analyst to people who don't analyze anything. That's actually hilarious that you don't know who Malika is. I wish I didn't know either. Yeah, Ghost, I don't watch talking heads. Like if I'm watching TV for any reason, it's for a live sporting event. I don't care who's talking. I live stream all live sporting events. I live stream them here on YouTube. And you can come watch them with me. I got the volume down. I don't need to hear the commentators. I don't need to hear shit they're saying. I'm going to say what they say. And I'm going to say it before them. Because I know every fact and tidbit about every player. I'm going to say it before them. People who watch sports with me, Kim Jones can tell you this. You watch sports with me and the UFC guys who watch fights with me, I say stuff way before the announcers every single time. They just start copying me. I don't need to hear shit. I don't need to know. Oh, did you know that guy was third string last year and then he finally got a break of practice? Dude, I already said that shit 2 quarters ago. Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. And I don't know that girl because I'll never listen to talking heads, ever. Turn them all off. Do you think Matt Corral has the talent to be a starting quarterback? No, Connor. If he did, he'd be a starting quarterback. That's just how that goes. Why did people hate on Mike Leach? I always respected him. Corey Flores. He got fired at Texas Tech for some controversial stuff. He ran a gimmicky offense that no one respected because it wasn't a pro-style offense. Therefore, none of his players are being prepared for the NFL. So if you're a college coach and your job is primarily to get these guys to the next level, if that's what you're promising them in living rooms and when you're going out and recruiting them, you're failing them because you're not getting them to the next level. None of your great quarterbacks, whether it be, Graham Harrell or who's the coach who's the quarterback's coach at USC. You guys know who I'm saying. There's just a ton of guys that, and I know his name, but there's just a ton of Texas Tech players who didn't translate. So it's not likable. Mike Leach had a very dry humor. Very dry humor that some people don't get because they're lame. Cliff Kingsbury, by the way. BJ Simmons. All these guys. Who do you think has the best receiver core in the Big Ten? You see, a guy like Civilian comes in here and asks a question that nobody's asking. Like nobody cares to ask this question. Who has the best receiver core in the Big Ten? You know that he's asking me to say Ohio State because it's the Big Ten. They have the best receivers in the Big Ten. Like that doesn't make any sense. Why are you asking me this question? Is anybody else saying anything different? Or do you just want to hear me say your favorite team's name? It's a waste of my time, Civilian. It's a waste of my time. Arnett and MSU been on recruiting terror this week. Our lads is goated. Fair enough. Yeah, you said you won't go back to Southern California. Oh, okay. Hey, that's what happens. I went to school with him and his brother, Mike and Dustin Fletcher. Okay. I'm not going to say nothing negative about them. Oh, you don't have to. I'm just saying. RG3 sucked. RG3 did not suck. Facts. Oh, okay. All right. Back to the list here. Number 10, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, very interesting story. First and foremost, Aaron Jones is a twin. Okay. Aaron Jones' parents were in the Army. They were non-commissioned officers. And they both retired. Dad started a recruiting service company just to boost his son's recruitment. Well, both of them, Aaron Jones and his brother. Went to UTEP from El Paso because Dad was stationed at Fort Bliss in El Paso. Dad recently passed away, though, unfortunately. Aaron Jones, complete stud. You know, he wears a hat going to practice or going to the games every day with like a sombrero, or I'm sorry, like some orange UTEP stuff going on. It's all a tribute to UTEP in El Paso. That's the city he reps, man. He reps it hard. I think he's got a tattoo, 915, the area code there. Like, Aaron Jones is that guy. But, yeah, his parents' Army. I can relate to everything about Aaron Jones. It's a shame. It's a shame. His father died from COVID, by the way. His father died from COVID. Me and Junior are playing League. I'll be there soon. You guys can wait. I'll be done here in about the next 10 minutes, probably. We're done with chat, and I only got to go over this list. So let's go over the list. Breece Hall. Back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons in high school. Nobody was talking about him. Tore it up at Iowa State. No one was talking about him. I tried to tell the world, draft this guy. Nobody listened. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, in high school, was not a running back. He was a wide receiver DB in high school. Got to Memphis, and when he got to Memphis, he still wasn't a running back. He was a wide receiver again, freshman year. Then he moves to running back, and I'll never forget this. His sophomore year, I was going through all the stats. I'll go over here and look at this for a second here. But I was going through all the stats, and his sophomore year, Tony Pollard averaged, I want to say 14 yards a carry, 15 yards a carry. In college, he had 36 carries, 500-something yards. I don't remember the exact number. Usually I know the number. I can't remember it. There you go. Josh Jacobs. The only significant thing. Oh, I'm blocking this so you guys can't even see the names of who I'm talking about. I'm terrible. I don't have the scenes figured out yet. I don't fade my scenes and do all that stuff. Josh Jacobs. He was homeless in middle school. Told you, they're always going to talk to you about some homeless stuff. Austin Eckler, 0-star guy, undrafted. No one wanted him coming out of high school. He's a good high school player. Undrafted, 0-star guy. And for whatever reason, he had to end up at Western Colorado. And he did well at Western Colorado. Did well. Never rushed for 1,000 yards, though. Never rushed for 1,000 yards. His father's in prison for life. There's a funny story his father's in prison for life. If there was ever a running back that you should have known was going to be great, it's Jonathan Taylor. Should have known he was great. I promise you should have known. He averaged 234 yards a game in high school. 234 yards a game in high school. He was going to go to Rutgers. Flips from Rutgers at the last second, goes to Wisconsin. Shows up to Wisconsin. And have you guys ever looked up his stats? Have you ever looked up his stats? He averaged over 2,000 yards a season in college, 3 years at Wisconsin. Showed up on the scene. 2,000 yards a season the entire time. Give me a break, bro. Who didn't know Jonathan Taylor was the truth from the jump? Obviously, Derrick Henry, one of the greatest high school running backs of all time. Rushed for 4,000 yards his senior year. A beast of a man. I think what's more impressive is his final year at Bama. When he won the Heisman. 395 carries. Almost 400 carries. It was 28 touchdowns, I know that. And over 2,200 yards. I don't remember the exact number. Over 2,000 yards. But are you kidding me, bro? Just insane. His father was absent his whole life. You know, his nickname is, what's his nickname? Shaka. Because he left the family in shock when he was born. Mom was 15, dad was 16, he's born. Into poverty, grandma raised him. Grandma called him Shaka because he shocked the family when he was born. Dad goes to prison, sells drugs, he's a pimp, he's doing prostitution, he's running prostitutes. Derrick Henry doesn't know his dad that well. Dad's in jail right now. So there you go. Just a hard life. A hard life. You got to respect it. Another, Saquon Barkley, another Rutgers commit. Was going to go to Rutgers. Flipped at the last second. You got Rutgers, Jonathan Taylor was going to go there. And now you got Saquon Barkley was supposed to go to Rutgers as well. That's two of the top 5 running backs in the NFL right now were supposed to go to Rutgers, and they didn't. That's nuts. Isaiah Pacheco, Rutgers. They just got a good track record of running backs. But, man, they could have had Saquon Barkley. Come on, man. It's nuts. What's cool about Saquon Barkley is when he went to Rivals camp in high school, he ran a 4.66 40. 4.66. And at that point, they were just kind of like, oh, well, he'll never be much. 4.66. He got to Penn State and started lifting weights. Started training really hard. And he turned that thing into a 4.4 flat for the combine. If you go look up film on Saquon Barkley his last year at Penn State, you're going to find 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. He used to return kicks. Used to be a beast. He don't do it anymore. Got a lot of injury issues. Nick Chubb, I think he's the best running back in the league, period. Nick Chubb was a state champion shot putter. Shot put. That's how strong Nick Chubb is. 55 feet on the shot put in high school. Just a beast of a man. 29 reps on the bench press. And there's a reason I'm bringing up his bench press. 29 reps. And that's because the number one guy they have here is McCaffrey. And McCaffrey, in his reps at the combine, McCaffrey did 10 reps. Dude, 10 reps is not good for a running back. I don't get it. Now, you don't have to be overly strong, but Nick Chubb was a 100-meter runner, 200-meter runner, and he was fast. 10.5 speed. Right? 10.5 speed, maybe 20.8 speed, 21.8 speed, something like that. But my God, Christian McCaffrey out here. Christian McCaffrey was also a punter in high school. You imagine that's the punter? We're calling fake punt every play, bro. But Christian McCaffrey was the punter for his high school team. So yeah, I just went through the list and just gave you guys random fun facts about every single player, every starting running back in the NFL. Hope you guys learned something about people and you can regurgitate it and steal it. You can go around and tell people, oh, you want to know a fun fact I just created right now? I just remembered this. Instead of saying, hey, I heard it from Rico Knows. Just saying. Let's go back over here. We're going to finish up chat and call it a night. So, what do you think of Kristen Phillips, offensive lineman, Michigan Trojans? What do you mean, Michigan Trojans? Prince Begler? Are you saying, is he going to Michigan or going to USC? If it's recruiting, there's nothing to talk about. I don't care. Let them go where they go. I don't care. I'm curious, was Jaylen Warren on your radar when he was in college? If so, I'd like to hear your thoughts on him. So yeah, he's on my radar. More importantly, when I get to the draft, people get on my radar. Everybody gets on my radar because I evaluate every draft eligible player. So my thoughts, I'm an advocate for small school guys. I'm an advocate for late round draft picks. I'm an advocate for underdogs. So I didn't foresee what's happening though. I didn't. Jamanta Waller out of Mississippi committed to Florida, and when he did, his rankings shot up. There's a ton of it. There's a ton of them. Breece Hall's nice. Yes. Do you think Zach Evans could have a good rookie year if healthy? Yeah, if he's healthy, Zach Evans is great. The problem is he's never healthy. And the Rams keep bringing in other running backs because he's not healthy. It's just what they keep doing because they know he's not there. They know he's not ready for it. That's why they brought in Sony Michel. So they're going to keep 4 running backs. They're not going to get rid of a rookie. But my goodness, he's not healthy ever. It's unfortunate because he looks so good on tape. Because he's so athletic, he's so fast. I love everything about him. Love everything about that guy. I really do. Have a good night, man. Wish Javen Hawkins worked out. He was a beast. Great show. Thank you very much, guys. Hey, remember, if you guys want to buy some things, it's ricoknows.org. ricoknows.org for the merch. Or is it .com? I think she retracted it because she knows. It's .org. But thank you guys for being here. Thanks for the questions. I'll see you guys tomorrow, brother.
Father, move I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression